Unexpected polar bear sightings in Duluth, Minnesota. Polar bears are typically found in the Arctic regions and are not native to Minnesota. However, there have been rare instances where polar bears have been seen in Minnesota, but these are usually in controlled environments like zoos. The Minnesota Zoo, for example, has had polar bears in its exhibits. In the wild, though, it's extremely unlikely to encounter a polar bear in Minnesota. In an unprecedented event, residents of Duluth, Minnesota woke up to shocking news this week. Multiple polar bear sightings along the shores of Lake Superior. This unexpected phenomenon has left wildlife experts and local authorities scrambling for answers. The first sighting. The first sighting occurred early Monday morning when a local fisherman, John Peterson, reported seeing a large white bear near the water's edge. At first, I thought it was a large dog, Peterson recounted. But as I got closer, I realized it was a polar bear. I couldn't believe my eyes. The news quickly spread through the community, causing a mix of excitement and concern. Duluth residents, known for their love of the outdoors, were both thrilled by the rare sighting and worried about the potential dangers. It's amazing to think that polar bears are here. It's also a bit scary, said a local resident, Mary Thompson. We need to make sure everyone stays safe. Expert opinions. Wildlife biologists were equally stunned by the news. Dr. Emily Roberts, a polar bear expert from the University of Minnesota, explained that polar bears are typically found in the Arctic regions and rely on sea ice for hunting seals, their primary source of food. The presence of a polar bear in Duluth is highly unusual, Dr. Roberts stated. It's possible that the climate change and the melting of Arctic ice have forced these bears to travel farther south in search of food. Environmental impact. The appearance of polar bears in Duluth raises significant questions about the broader environmental impact. Climate change has been causing sea ice to melt at an alarming rate, disrupting the natural habitats of polar bears. This could be a sign of a much larger problem, Dr. Roberts warned. If polar bears are being forced to migrate to areas like Duluth, it indicates that their traditional hunting grounds are no longer viable. In response to the sightings, local authorities have issued warnings to residents to avoid the areas where the bears have been seen. We are taking this situation very seriously, said Police Chief Mark Johnson. Our primary concern is the safety of our residents and the bears. We are working with wildlife experts to monitor the situation and develop a plan to safely relocate the bears if necessary. Authorities have also set up a hotline for residents to report any additional sightings and have increased patrols in the affected areas. We want to ensure that everyone stays safe and that the bears are not harmed, Chief Johnson emphasized. It's important for people to stay away from the bears and not attempt to approach them. Possible explanations. While the exact reason for the bears' presence in Duluth remain unclear, experts have proposed several theories. One possibility is that the bears followed a food source, such as fish or seals, into the area. Another theory is that the bears became disoriented while traveling and ended up in Duluth by accident. The role of climate change. Regardless of the reason, the sightings have brought renewed attention to the issue of climate change and its impact on wildlife. This is a wake-up call for all of us, Dr. Roberts says. We need to take immediate action to address climate change and protect the habits of these incredible creatures. In the meantime, the community has rallied together to support efforts to manage the situation. Local organizations have started fundraising campaigns to support wildlife conservation and education programs. We want to do our part to help, said community leader Sarah Williams. It's important for us to raise awareness and take action to protect our environment. As authorities and experts continue to monitor the situation, the residents of Duluth are left to ponder the impacts of these unexpected visitors. It's a reminder of how interconnected our world is, Thompson reflected. We need to take care of our planet and all the creatures that call it home. The polar bear sightings in Duluth have sparked a range of emotions and reactions, from awe and wonder to concern and urgency. As the community comes together to address this situation, one thing is clear. The presence of these majestic animals has highlighted the pressing need to address climate change and protect our environment for future generations. The process and obstacles a polar bear would encounter on its journey to Minnesota from Canada are as followed. 1. Geographical barriers. Bears would have to travel through a vast expanse of land, including forests and human-populated areas, which are not their natural habitats. They are adapted to cold, icy environments, so the terrain would be difficult for them. 2. Climate. The climate in Minnesota, while cold in the winter, is not as consistently cold as the Arctic regions. Polar bears are adapted to extreme cold temperatures and rely on sea ice for hunting. They would struggle to find suitable conditions for survival. 3. Food sources. Polar bears primarily hunt seals, which are not found in Minnesota. Finding adequate food sources would be a significant challenge for them. 4. Human interaction. Polar bears might come into contact with human populations, which could lead to dangerous situations for both bears and people. Wildlife authorities would like to intervene to ensure safety. 5. Wildlife management. If a polar bear were found in Minnesota, wildlife authorities would probably capture and relocate the bear to a more suitable habitat, likely back to the Arctic regions. Seals are not native to Lake Superior, but there have been rare instances of seals being found in the Great Lakes. These occurrences are usually the results of seals traveling through connected waterways or being released or escaping from captivity. The most common seal species in these cases are harbor seals. However, it's important to note that Lake Superior does not provide the ideal habitat for seals, as they typically prefer saltwater environments and rely on specific food sources that are more abundant in the ocean. Could a herd of seals adapt to living in Lake Superior? It's highly unlikely that a herd of seals, which are typically the food source for polar bears, could adapt to living in Lake Superior. Seals are primarily marine animals that are adapted to saltwater environments. Lake Superior is a freshwater lake, which poses a significant challenge for marine species in terms of their psychological needs and available food sources. Additionally, the diet of seals in the ocean consists of marine fish and invertebrates, which are not as abundant or available in Lake Superior. The ecosystem of Lake Superior is quite different